Hello everyone, Lawrence here, and yeah, we're gonna take these guys apart. that anime arc is complete. I remembered why I stopped playing the dang on deck, and it's pretty much because, alright, here's an easy way, and we're just gonna go ahead and bring the camera down. Alright, so, thing about tunes, that's kind of why I like tunes. Tunes really don't have combos. If I can get this camera right. There we go. Tunes really don't have combos. They have cards that they would like to get to. And then they can use that card to do something. Six Samurai, on the other hand, in order to make their like obnoxiously oppressive boards, you need, at a minimum, 3 cards. Alright? And I'm sure Jeremy from Team Bio has like some rebuttals to this, but generally speaking, you need 3. It doesn't have to be these 3 specifically. I'm just throwing these out there for example. So you need 2 summons that you can put on the board, just in general. You need to be able to link them off for Isolde. You need to be able to get Isolde's effect off to bring out another monster. Put them on camera. You need to be able to link those 2 monsters off for Battle Shogun to get his gateway, and then you've got to be able to keep, and then you got to have special summons to keep using. And even then, that gives you 2 counters on gateway, 1 on Battle Shogun. So you actually need more. Or you can go the other way, which is you go into Battle Shogun first, get your gateway, play the gateway, then you summon your dude. That'll give you 2 on gateway. You go into Isolde next, use Isolde to summon. That'll give you 4. But at that point, sure, you can go do stuff, but those are 2 heavy choke points right there. And 2 negates you'd have to be able to play through, right? So it's overall, I feel it's a really scary first turn board, because I could make like Dragoon, Borreload Savage, and either Shien or Appaloosa on that first turn. But then what's the at that point, 1, it probably took me 10 minutes of just playing solitaire to make, or B, or 2, how often, like, 1 Nibiru throws it off, because you're not, in order to stop Nibiru, you've really got a couple of options. To stop it, you've got to have these 2 of your level 3s on the board, go into Bamboozling Gossip Shadow if you're running it, and then you can stop it that way. But if you do that, you don't have 6 Samurai to keep summoning other 6 Samurai with, unless you have Dojo on the board, so you got to get extremely lucky is my thing. Or if you have Shien's Dojo on the board and you have counters on it, you can theoretically keep going. But then you got to be lucky enough to have Gateway also on the board so that you can actually make something happen with that card you summon. So it's a whole lot of too many things have to fall into place to make it work. And I remember specifically once Nibiru hit the game, it just turned into a freaking nightmare to try and do anything too great with these guys. And the only games I would win were the games where my opponent didn't have Nibiru once he came out in those tins. I think, was that 2019 tins? But, and yeah, the more I played 6 Samurai, I was just like, dude, I could just be playing dinosaurs and I could run hand traps. You know what I mean? I could run hand traps because I only need to have 1 good card in hand in order to keep going with combos on that one. No, we'll take this out. Because I only need 1 card to get my combos going with dinosaurs, so theoretically I could have 4 cards in my hand that are hand traps or just other stuff that, you know, is more useful. So we're just dipping out of 6 Samurai. It's frustrating to play, not fun to play against, and we're leaving that one as is. Yeah, they're frustrating to play against because you're kind of just sitting there like, alright, how many times are you going to do this stupid hand loop? And then there's always the one guy. There's always that one guy who I'm just like, alright, let me explain, I can do this infinitely, I can get infinite counters. That doesn't seem legit. Let me get a judge, and that just wastes even more time. Like, 6 Samurai is time wasting the deck, is basically what they are. So I think we're pretty much done. It's not any fun. I'll give them this over Tunes. They do have a stronger definitive win condition, because you can pack at least 3 negates casually if your plays go off without a hitch, and you had the 3 summons in your hand, like I said. But for the most part, it's entirely not worth it. If I'm going to run a combo deck, I'm just going to run my dinosaurs or my Live Twin Cyberse deck, which is pretty much the same. I got 1-card combos to go into stuff with, and then I can safely run hand traps, because you don't really get to do that with this deck. Come on, there we go. I will use the sleeves though, and I feel like I gotta give it to the 6 Samurai, because they are what got me back playing the game after like, I don't know, like a decade-long hiatus. We'll leave that in there too. I'll use that Dark Magician instead. Yeah, they are what got me back into playing the game after like a decade-long hiatus. And that was off of Duel Links. I think I mentioned this before, because I was running 6 Samurai and Duel Links when Shein came out. I know they eventually got released, and I wasn't playing them immediately then, because they, whenever the game came out, because they weren't there when the game first came out. But I remember eventually, once they added the 6 Samurai, they were a really super easy deck to play, and once Shein got released, it just got freaking awesome. And, you could tear stuff up with them. But that's just kind of my opinion on it. So, I guess it's kind of weird to say to a collectible card game, but, out of, I guess, respect to the memory, I'll use the 6 Samurai sleeves, and they do look kind of cool, You got that super cool looking guy right there. I'll put the Tunes in the 6 Samurai sleeves. And I will do regular clear sleeves on all these guys, and put them back in the binder where they will stay. Probably I'll maybe look to sell them. Look to trade them off. Just be like, alright guys, we're done. Anybody want these power prepped cards? Yeah. Nibiru alone just completely destroys the deck. Because like I said, you really have no way to defend against Nibiru, because if you get enough 6 Samurai on the board to summon Bamboozling, well, odds are within 5 summons, in order to pull that off within 5 summons, mind you, odds are you don't have any more Samurai left on the board to keep special summoning with. Because you're likely going to do it with Mizuho and Shinai. And you can't throw all those guys out there, because let's really think about this. So, let's say best path possible to get a Bamboozling on the board. I guess the quickest way would be you use Kageki and you go into one of your level 3s, doesn't matter which one. Chamberlain, let me actually sleeve these up first, and then I'll start putting them in the other ones. Kageki into Chamberlain, Mizuho, Hatsume, or... this thing's falling. Or Shinai. So those 2 summons right there. You can go directly into Bamboozling Gossip Shadow and have a 2600 wall out, but you're not going to make any more plays after that. You're just not. Unless, of course... and this is the big unless you were lucky enough to have Instant Fusion, and this, I'm talking from my deck, by the way, Instant Fusion and, what's it called? Shade Brigandine on the field. Or, no, that wouldn't quite work. Because I was thinking Hornet Drones, but Hornet Drones wouldn't work because you would have a monster in the main zone. So, yeah, you would have to... So that would be 2 summons into Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, and while, yes, that would stop the Nibiru, you can't make any further plays unless you had 2 very specific cards. Now, if you did have the Instant Fusion Shade Brigandine, you could go into the Shade Brigandine card and Instant Fusion out a Warrior monster, one of your Warrior Fusions, whichever one you prefer, go into Isolde, go into your next guy, and you can keep going from there. But then that runs the problem of, okay, so you've got Isolde, you've got your samurai that you summoned. For one, you've already used your normal summon, so you don't get to do another one. Let's say you use that 6 samurai summon in Isolde to go into Battle Shogun. You get Battle Shogun effect, you get Gateway. Well, now you've got Gateway, but you have nothing else you can summon. See what I mean? You've got Gateway, if you've played it, you have no tokens on it, or counters, whatever it's called, and you can't do anything with it. So therein lies that problem. Or, let's say you try to mill out your deck a little bit more. You do, let's say, the standard thing would be to go into, from Kageki use the summon, you would go into, maybe, hopefully, Kizaru. Let's say best case scenario, Kizaru. Kizaru grabs red or blue, whichever one. You go from that into Isolde. From Isolde, you summon up the opposite one. So you've got now you potentially have both red and blue on the field. It's your 5th summon, by the way. Now, they could decide to just Nibiru you there and stop your combo wholesale. Or, let's just say they were generous enough to let you get off the Bamboozle and Gossip Shadow. Well, now you've got Bamboozle and Gossip Shadow and Isolde on the field, and you can't do anything else. Again, unless you had Instant Fusion, Shade Brigandine, or at this point, Monster Reborn would also work. So you see what I mean, where I'm talking about how everything's getting way too specific. And therein lies the problem with the 6 samurai. You don't have the chance to really run hand traps because you want your hand available to have those 3 cards to get you started. Whether it's 3 monsters that can be special summoned, or 2 monsters that can be special summoned plus a Shien's Dojo. That's the other way you can do it. Point is, you don't have small 1-card combos that you can use like the meta decks do. And when you do not have that, you really don't want to see, especially going first, you don't want to see Ash Blossom in your hand, you don't want to see Nibiru in your hand, you don't want to see a lot of other stuff in your hand, especially if you're trying to just go. You used to comfortably run 3 copies of Called by the Grave, but for whatever silly reason, Konami decided to limit that to 1, which I still think is a stupid, just awful idea. And it's not just because, hey, combo decks would be better with the unlimiting of, Call by the Grave. The Call by the Grave does a lot of other stuff to stop combo decks as well. So if you had Call by the Grave and you could set it face down reliably on your turn 1, and all of a sudden Drytrons threw one of their guys into the graveyard, say Ben 10, say one of the Drytrons, well, you decide to say, hey there, buddy, get out of here, and take him out of and you banish him from the game, and take care of that problem right there. I had something for this. Where'd my binder go? I found a higher level rarity Toon Mermaid to play with. It's not, it's not anything too crazy, it's just a silver letter rare. But, still, hey, higher rarity's higher rarity. I will take it. And we'll throw that in here. But yeah, so therein lies the problem with 6 Samurai. Too many choke points. You really can't play through Nibiru except in some very specific and very lucky situations. And it's a thing to say. In a sense, you could say the 6 Samurai are playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh! but they can't play against modern Yu-Gi-Oh! If that makes any sense. Because they're running the combos, they can set up the big scary boards that modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets up. However, on the flip side, they can't defend against the hand traps, the negates, and all that stuff. Because when you start adding the hand traps in there, and when you start sighting in for like Dark Rulers and stuff like that, you're killing your consistency. And we'll leave those as is. So I'm going to take these sleeves, and I'll use them for something else. They're already like pre-packaged. It's pretty cool. I'll set them right here for now. Then I will take the 6 samurai sleeves, and I will slide these in there. But, yeah. And here's the thing about my Toon deck. My Toon deck is basically set up to go second and break your board. The only board, and I'll be honest here, the only board that really truly terrifies me from recent memory is Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk, or Bird Up, whatever they're calling it, and Drytron. Because instead of having negates, what they have is floodgates. Which I think is where... Which... Maybe it's just me, but that seems to be what I'm noticing more and more lately. They're not playing negates, they're running floodgates out of their monsters. And there we go. It's in. So basically any deck that's ending on Smorg into Barrier Statue, well, they're just tearing things apart right now. You gotta Barrier Stat, or you gotta pull Dark Rulers or anything like that, because my general strategy of let me go into my kaijus, my lava golems, and all that stuff, well, that doesn't work against those guys because I cannot special summon them specifically. What you can do, however, you do have a few outs to it. But you've got... You've got Super Poly into Guard Dragon Marmaduke, whatever it's called. I think I just keep calling it Marmaduke. I know that's not the right name, but it's that. It requires 3 Link monsters, which Bird Up puts on the field. Then you've got... Oh, cool. So you can do that, and you can do Dark Ruler to just turn off their effects. And really, aside from that, there's not a whole lot else you can do about those particular Floodgate cards. Other than just normal summoning something to beat over Barrier Statue and then coming back at it next, and then trying to recover during your main phase too. But you know, at that point you'll survive. But, yeah, so it's kind of funny. So, like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, the idea is to stop your opponent from playing the game. The way I build my Toon deck is to punish the opponent for playing the game, if that makes any sense. And another thing is, I just kind of get more excited when I build my Toon stuff. Because if I'm going combo, if I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! The way it's supposed to be played nowadays, which is you combo off and you make these big castle boards, there's no reason I shouldn't just run dinosaurs. Or if my daughter's going to be using the dinosaur deck that day, I'll just run my Cyberse deck and make stuff with that. It's not anywhere near as good, but it can get the job done. Yeah. However, especially nowadays, what I've noticed is, you know, when I would run hand traps and such, and I've hit several different parts of the Drytron chain, and it never seemed to matter. They've just been like, okay, hey, you hit that, thanks, no big deal, we're just going to keep doing this then. And they would still get at least Ultimateness on the board, and Ultimateness is essentially 3 negates in 1, because he pops Ava, Ava gives him 2 fairies. Come on, there we go. So, one hit negates don't seem to matter as much anymore. Which is why I think these floodgate strategies are more significant. And even in my Tomb deck, I just side out the kaijus and put my floodgates in, Tick Boo and the other stuff. If I'm going up against something like Drytrons or something like that, where I'm just like, it doesn't matter if I break their board, I know turn 2 they can just build it back up again. Or turn 3 they can just build it back up again. And the odds of me actually being able to finish them off on turn 1 are slim to none. Or on turn 2 are slim to none. And even with Dragoon, this kind of comes into knowing specific choke points in a deck to hit, which I'm afraid to say I don't always know. How many cards is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Let me use these guys. Kind of like the alternate designs rather than these two. Alright. I got a bunch of new cards for my side deck, or for my extra deck too. A lot of new targets for Super Poly. I might, and I was kicking this idea around, take Super Poly out of the extra deck, or out of the side deck, put it into the main deck, replacing kaijus, and get Dark Ruler to replace the other 3 kaijus. But, I don't know. Now, out of these, which, well, I'd probably use all those. So we'll just get new sleeves. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Yeah, that should be enough. Alright. Go back into this. I do like this whole Konami sleeve into the clear sleeve. I think that's pretty cool. But I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, I'd have to ask what makes Yu-Gi-Oh fun for people. And I kind of think Yu-Gi-Oh in the same vein as Dead by Daylight, where it's flippin' awesome when it's people that are running low-tier stuff and don't know entirely everything that they're doing. If that makes any sense. Like, that's great. I love that. It's when you start looking at only the meta decks, which right now, let's be honest, is Bird Up, Drytrons, and Virtual World, and honestly, I'm seeing way more Virtual World, or Drytrons than I am Virtual World. But yeah, it's when you do, and you can't, it's when you do just those decks that I'm like, okay, this is boring now. And, you know, you can't get mad at it, because it's a collectible card game, there are prizes on the line, and of course, people are going to gravitate towards doing those things. They're going to gravitate towards what wins, and what is going to earn them those prizes. What it definitely feels like, and this is I guess this is kind of showing of it, because I'll play on Shadow Realms LLC, and I'm like, if I don't run like a meta deck, or a deck that at least plays like a meta deck, I'm gonna get crushed. I can't really run a rogue deck on that site. Time Vault, and I'll be honest with you, it's nowhere near as fun. Time Vault, on the other hand, I'm going to see maybe 10 different people, and it's going to be 10 different decks. And it's a blast. May not always win, but it's a lot of fun. But anyway, Where's my other sleeves now? They are hiding. Are these? Yeah. But yeah, and a lot of the bigger Yu-Gi-Oh guys that I follow, like MST.TV and DZ, every now and then you'll hear them mention that Konami doesn't like combo decks, which I'm down with. And I think there's a really easy fix for this. All you gotta do is say, nope, that's not the right size. That's not what you gotta say, but you know what I mean. All you gotta do is you gotta change all these soft once per turns and make them default hard once per turns. And I think that would fix a lot of it. You might be saying, well, Lawrence, I don't see how that would fix anything because a lot of these new cards they come out with are once per turn. Or are hard once per turns. Yes, but a lot of the older cards that they're pairing with them aren't. Like, I'll even throw Six Samurai out there as an example. A lot of them do say once per turn you can do this. Problem is, once you recycle that card, like Kizaru, you can just keep using it. So I think that would go a long way to kind of curb a lot of these combo decks that they keep trying to hit. Because you notice they didn't do anything to Subterrors. And Subterrors consistently have a presence, if nothing else. That's because Subterrors aren't really a combo deck. Now, they have a small combo to get a certain card on the board, but that's really it. They don't have a one-card combo that goes into 2 negates, which I think is, at the end of the day, what they're trying to stop. And yeah, I think just making every once per turn a default hard once per turn would go a long way to curb a lot of that. But that's just my opinion. And I am almost done with this. I am kind of mulling around some new ideas for tunes, because the huge problem that I have with the tune deck is I can break any board, but if I don't have Toon World and a card to follow up with, well, then I'm kind of screwed. Well, Toon Kingdom takes the name Toon World, we all know that, and these two are good, it seems. Yeah. What if I just ran 3 Toon Kingdoms and 3 Toon Worlds? Or maybe 3 Toon Kingdoms and 2 Toon Worlds. You know what I mean? But that's discussion for another video. For right now, yeah, I just kind of wanted to chit-chat and be like, yeah, I'm kind of done with Six Samurai. We're putting that deck back away as soon as I find where I dropped that card. And in the meantime, y'all have a fantastic rest of your day, and go out there and treat each other like you have some sense.